When it comes to enchiladas, there are many different types. And we've cooked quite a few of them here on the show. Save one. Ground beef enchiladas, and that's because nobody takes those seriously. I mean, most recipes call for convenience products like canned sauce or seasoning packets. It's basic cafeteria food. But today, Erin's going to take the ground beef enchilada back to its roots.
I certainly am, Julia. A traditional Mexican beef enchilada is made with braised shredded beef and a long, slow simmered chili sauce. So I wanted to make a quick version using ground beef, but I wanted to maintain that authentic chili flavor. And the first step is to begin with chilies. So we're going to start off with 1.5 ounces of dried ancho chilies. A dried ancho chili is a dried poblano. So I'm going to show you how to prep the anchos. You want to just kind of open it up, let the seeds fall out, and remove the stem. You just want the meat of the ancho. And now I'm just going to tear this into 1-inch pieces. So we're just going to toast these over medium-high heat. Toasting dried chilies really improves their flavor. It's just a couple minutes and we're going to know that they're ready when you can start to smell them. All right. You don't want to go too far. If you go too far, the chilies will get too bitter. So you really want to trust your nose. Can you smell that?
Yes, you can smell that raisiny floral flavor.
Yep. That means that they're ready. I'm going to turn the heat down and put these into this bowl. And 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil over medium heat. This is going to be for our onions. But first, I'm going to add 2 cups of beef broth. I'm going to microwave this on high power for 2 minutes. Then we're going to let them stand until they're softened for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we are going to move on to our onions. The onions are going to be the base of our sauce and also of our filling. So I'm going to add 2 chopped onions. And we're going to cook them for about 5 minutes. And what we're doing is we're just softening the onions and we're going to cook them till they're translucent. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, and as you can see, our onions are nicely translucent and they're softened.
Beautiful.
All right, so now we're gonna add some garlic. So I have minced 6 cloves of garlic. So we're gonna cook this for about a minute. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna divide this mixture in half. So I'm gonna remove half of it from the pan and just put it into this bowl over here. And the other half, we're gonna keep cooking.
All right.
All right, so this half of the onion mixture is gonna be for our sauce. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. And we want that acidity and also sweetness in our sauce. So to the tomato mixture, we're going to add a teaspoon of cumin. It's going to give our sauce a nice earthy flavor. We're just going to cook this for about 5 more minutes until the tomato paste starts to turn brown.
All right.
And that means that the flavors have really developed and that we're ready for the next step. Do you notice a difference in the color?
Big difference. Also a big difference in the aroma.
Now we're just going to take this off the heat.
Okay.
That's it for a minute. So these are our ancho chili peppers that we microwaved for 2 minutes and reconstituted. Now they're like soft and flexible. So I'm going to pour these into our blender bowl. And now I'm going to add a tablespoon of minced chipotle and adobo. This is basically smoked jalapenos that are reconstituted and rehydrated with a tomato and vinegar sauce. Now we're going to add our tomatoes and onions and garlic mixture. Blend it for about 1 minute until the sauce is smooth. Okay, we are good. We're going to let that sit. We're going to go back to our pan. We're heating 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil over medium heat until it's shimmering. And we're going to move on to our beef. So we're not using slow braised shredded beef, but we are using ground beef.
Okay.
And we tried 80% ground beef, and that just yielded a very greasy sauce and a very greasy dish. So we're using 1 pound of 90% ground beef. We're going to season this. We're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of table salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. In addition to the cumin, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. The ground coriander really just kind of like gives it a little citrus notes and a little bit more complexity. Now we're going to cook this for about 2 minutes, and I'm going to break these into 1/4-inch pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to add the reserved onion and garlic mixture that we had. And we're going to continue to cook this for another 3 to 4 minutes until you see no more pink.
Okay, so we've all had that experience when you buy ground meat at the supermarket and you bring it home and it's nice and bright pink on the outside, but when you break it open, it's a little discolored on the inside with grayish, bluish, sometimes pinkish colors. And the question is it bad? Beef's color comes from a muscle protein called myoglobin, which contains iron. Whole fresh muscle meat is purple on the inside as the myoglobin molecules contain no oxygen. When the butcher grinds the meat, it's exposed to the air. And as oxygen binds to the iron in the myoglobin, the purple myoglobin converts to bright red oxymyoglobin. After ground meat is packaged in patties or loaves, its surface stays red, but the interior fades to a grayish brown in the absence of oxygen. This is the most common way we encounter supermarket ground beef, and it's good to eat. Over time, however, the iron in the meat will oxidize and turn into a rusty brown colored metmyoglobin. And when the meat has turned completely brown, it's an indication that it's no longer fresh. But meat doesn't always turn brown. Some beef processors expose ground beef to carbon monoxide or other treatments, which can preserve the bright red color of the myoglobin and potentially mask meat spoilage. So what this all means is that color is not the best indication of spoilage. And no matter what color it is, you should always give it the smell test before cooking.
All right, so we are there, Julia. There's no more pink. The beef is cooked all the way through. Now we're gonna add this back to our bowl that had the onions in it, and adding a 1/4 cup of our chili sauce. The meat is gonna soak it up and it's gonna rehydrate and it's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna add 1½ cups of Monterey Jack cheese, which is a really nice melting cheese. As it melts, it's gonna coat the beef and give it that luxurious texture that the shredded beef would have had. We're also gonna add 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. You have to have cilantro when you have enchiladas, right? So now I'm just gonna stir this up and let that meat soak up that sauce. Cheese is gonna melt. So now we're gonna put that aside and we're gonna move on to our tortillas. We're just gonna use 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, brush both sides of each tortilla. Not only is this gonna make them more pliable and prevent them from drying out, but it's also gonna waterproof them. Have you ever had an enchilada where the tortilla, as you eat them, they just kind of turn to mush? Yeah, so this is gonna prevent that from happening. So we are using 12 6-inch tortillas. And we're gonna put these into a 400-degree oven on the middle rack just for about 5 minutes until they warm up and they soften. Okay, so our tortillas have softened, and I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of our chili sauce to the bottom of our 9 by 13-inch baking dish. And I'm just gonna spread it over the bottom. Okay, are you ready?
I am ready. All right. So here are the tortillas.
I'm gonna roll 6 and you're gonna roll 6. You have a 1/4 cup.
Okay.
I have a 1/4 cup.
All right.
And each tortilla gets a 1/4 cup of filling right in the center. If you are gonna lay them out like we're laying them out, you need to work quickly or else the tortillas will dry out. We're gonna roll them.
Okay.
As we roll, we're just gonna place them seam side down in the pan in 2 rows of 6.
There we go. There's the last enchilada.
Beautiful. So now we are gonna top our enchiladas with the remaining sauce. Such a beautiful sauce, isn't it?
It smells delicious.
Now I'm gonna top it with just a 1/2 cup of Monterey Jack cheese, just a little bit. It's gonna melt on top of our enchiladas and make them really beautiful. We're gonna put these in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes on the middle rack, and we want them to be heated through, and we're gonna know that they're finished when the sauce starts to bubble around the edges and the cheese on the top is lightly browned.
Oh, you can see the bubbling right along the edges. That is hot.
And the cheese has melted. Yep. We are gonna let this cool for about 10 minutes. Okay, Julia, it's
ready.
time. 10-minute rested enchiladas are ready. So now we're just gonna finish them off with 2 tablespoons of minced cilantro. This adds a nice fresh flavor to our really roasted chili sauce. We're gonna add 2 scallions that I sliced thinly.
So I'm excited to try these.
Oh, good. You need the sour cream to kind of cool off the heat.
A little fresh lime juice. All right, Erin.
Diving in.
I'm diving in. That's delicious.
Isn't that good?
Yeah. You know, I actually just went right for the filling.
Yeah.
It has a ton of flavor. And it's not cafeteria food, not even close. It has so much of that ancho, a little kick of that chipotle. And the ground beef is juicy and tender.
And the tortillas are holding up.
Yeah.
We've waterproofed them, so they've really stayed together. They're holding their shape.
This is delicious.
I mean, the chili flavor is roasted, it's complex, it has like multiple levels.
Awesome, Erin, just awesome.
Thank you.
So there you have it. For the ultimate ground beef enchiladas, make a delicious sauce using ancho chilies. After toasting and rehydrating the chilies, blend them into a smooth sauce. For the filling, use 90% lean beef and cook it before combining with the cheese and some of the sauce. Brush the corn tortillas with oil and warm them in a hot oven before filling, rolling, and assembling the enchiladas in the dish. And cook it in a hot oven for 15 minutes and let them cool slightly before serving. So from America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a killer new recipe for ground beef and cheese enchiladas. Yes.
Good stuff.
Yes, yes. I'm glad we made 12 of them. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.